practice of the art of peace is getting into your body. So I'm going to show you 4 different ways to get into your body in a mindful way, and how it relates to the art of peace, and how that relates to how we fight COVID more effectively. So the first thing is, of course, become present. Now, when we're sitting on the cushion, there's not a whole lot to become present with. But when you're exercising, you need to expand the present moment to get into your body, really get into your body. We tame the mind in the morning. We kind of really start to practice being present with the mind through the body. So when you engage with any equipment, the first thing you want to do is pay attention to your first touch. So become absolutely focused on the thing, first touch. That's bringing your mind into the present moment instead of focusing on sound or what you see or what you hear or what you smell or what you taste. It's all touch. So the second you go touch, go whole body. So then the practice begins. You become present with the moment. Then you feel feet, pelvis, core, heart, throat, top of the head. Then get into the breathing. Now, the practice of the art of peace is ultimately about sustainability. And when you create sustainability, the magic of life just facilitates itself. So when you create sustainability, you do so by moving mindfully, and the best way to do that in terms of exercise is with ease. So what's the easiest kind of movement you can do? And as you're kind of moving really easily in the kind of the dip section, you can go into what's the next easiest thing to do. And maybe for you, on any given day, what's easy is a twist, or maybe it's a movement of the leg. I mean, whatever, it's easy, okay? Look for ease. And then when you do stuff that's familiar, right, a dip, really go slow. And don't think about the outcome as why you're doing it. You're doing it as a range of motion that you want to master at every level. So you want to master that range of motion here. You want to master it here. You want to master it here. You want to have absolute engagement with that present moment, and you're under stress, right? Under strain. Now, this, banging out as many reps as you can, going into full go is awesome, right? But in terms of sustainability, you want to see that as like a peak moment as opposed to the moment. So it's a peak moment. So you're getting, everything's getting really smoothed out. It's like going through a training, a dress rehearsal. Everything kind of gets smoothed out, and in the process of smoothing things out, you start to notice where some edges might be. You go back into the body, feet, pelvis, core, heart, throat, top of the head, and then breathing. Now, ultimately, what you're looking for here when you're in your own practice, is just time at ease and enjoyment. I mean, just enjoy yourself. Like, go through lots of ranges of motion. Take your time. Don't be in a particular hurry. Just kind of whatever. I would really recommend things like music, smells, other things, just like a yoga class, But anything that kind of fosters a deepening, a full experience, something that kind of becomes all that your focus is. Anything that supports that. I know for some people, cannabis really supports that. So finding that sustainable kind of relationship to the moment, finding the sustainable relationship to the rest of your life. And then when you want those kind of peak power, just something that has explosion to it, just work it in there, but have that be part of the picture, not the focus of the picture. When I no longer become useful for you, the present moment becomes the magic that you're being present for. You get to tame the mind, body, and move. That feels good today. And have an end. It's important to have an end because it's a matter of discipline. I've noticed that with my children, that there's certain points where there's an emphasis on discipline, and most of that deals with all the other stuff. Come to focus on this and be disciplined about it. We do that for dinner, for grace, and also for prayers at night. They're just moments of discipline. And when you're with your body and you go into an Art of Peace body practice, it's all about intentionality. That's why we train for intention. That's the fourth bell. Intentionality. This is a beginning. This is an engagement. You're looking for sustainability. I'm going to move on here. You don't want dominance because you have to sustain it. If the only thing you are good at doing is dominance, it can't be sustained. It's like water's wet. Don't work on electronics in the water. Right? It's like that. It's not a matter of anything. It just is. So, familiar stuff. Let's see. It's your hex squat. So again, tame the mind. And I really like to tame the mind by touching the thing. Hearing it, getting a feel for it. It's all pretty tactical, It's all, what's this thing's deal? How much energy is this going to cost me? Very kind of exploratory. Curiosity tames the mind every time. We talk about that in the morning every day, damn near. Then go through the body. Now, we're trained to get here, get ready, and boom, go. right? We're trained to be able to, boom, right? Let's go. Let's go. That's what you're trained to do. What you want to practice doing, there's a difference between training, okay? Training and practice. A dog gets trained. You practice, okay? So the difference between training and practice is all up to you. It's all up to you. Training isn't. Practice is. See the distinction? So it's your call. That's what the stanza is all about today. The first stanza of the Art of Peace is all about this principle. The principle that you're in control here. Not the fucking Pavlov's dog, like hear a bell, go hard as you can reaction to exercise that you've had to kind of learn how to adapt to. But a body practice, a relationship that starts at the mind to the moment. It's about the mind going from, and then falling in, becoming present with the moment. You get the mind's full effect in the moment. And that's when, it's that part that happens. It's just that part that happens. And so when that part happens, you're focusing on your breath, you practice with it, it's all on you, it's all your call, and then you intentionally let it down. You're guided by ease and sustainability. So here's what it looks like in flow. So you're just looking for ease. Where's their ease? Now, it's not your form. It's your relationship to your form. Your form is training. Your relationship to your form is practice. So I like to think about this as the armor down part. Like, the armor down part is the release of all that effort. It's the let go of all the work that you just pushed through your body. And it's kind of like a cleaner kind of work in the sense that the object of its effort was not more. The object of its effort was sustainable. And so the stuff that we can recreate with the equipment is, in a moment, what we're doing all the time. The body's just predictable. That's why we like drugs and alcohol so much, is because it's predictable. It's a predictable effect. Well, you can get that same kind of predictableness with your body. The issue is that your body gets tired. And so if you're just kind of crushing the body, you can't do it for very long, and all you really notice is kind of maxed out stuff. So you're looking for a relationship to whatever you're doing. It doesn't matter what it is. A relationship with your body. The body piece is essential. The relationship with your body. So, no equipment, no nothing. Same process. Nothing has changed. Become present with what's around you. Sight, sound, taste, touch, smell. You can focus in on one, or you can kind of move around. Just as long as you stay with what's showing up now. Your mind will run back to now. Once you kind of tame the mind, you control the mind. You guide the mind by your will to your feet, to your pelvis, to your core, to your heart space, to your throat. Put your awareness. What do you feel? What do you notice there? Head. That's all by your will, right? You're saying, mind, do this. And mind is bowing. Mind is bowing to your will. Mind says, fine. Once mind gets into the present moment, mind stops kind of whining, because the present moment is fascinating for them. So by the time you get to the breath, you're trying to calm the mind or lull the mind into being curious about the present moment. By the time you get to the breath, you're trying to lull the mind in the present moment. You grab the mind by its fucking ass. Come here! And then you start to be sweet, right? Okay. Now just listen. Look at that. And the mind's like, what? Okay. And the mind's like, okay. And then you're like, all right, mind, go to your feet. What do your feet feel like? I don't know. I'll go up. Okay. Then the pelvis. And the mind's like, oh. And then the core. Then the heart space. Then the throat. Then the top of the head. And the mind's like, oh. And then you're like, now mind, follow me. I'll do this. So then you go into breathing. And that's that kind of relationship between your will and the body. And you find the right pattern of breath. And then you just begin to move on that. Now, in the beginning, your mind is less aware of the amount of sensation and participation that's available inside the body. It takes the mind a little while to learn. And as you learn, the fullness of what you're capable of feeling starts to become more noticeable. And as it becomes more noticeable, you begin to recognize your participation with it and how noticeable it is, its intensity. And you get to see how much you can participate there, and how you have a ability to be in a sustainable relationship with anything you want, really, as long as you can kind of take account, essentially, for your stuff, like for what you're working with. You're working with a mind, a body, and then something bigger. And a mind and a body and something bigger are all made to support or pull from each other. That's just the way they're made. So you either find a way to support them, or you suffer more. You suffer more. And you're just looking for the magic of the bigger than you, when the mind and body come into harmony, and then you realize that the magic that's bigger than you is something that you can participate with. It's more and more interesting. And that's really it. It just gets more and more interesting. But, here's the ultimate goal for this stuff. Is as you get better at this, you do the things that perpetuate the unsustainable relationships you have in your life. And the problem with unsustainable relationships is they're built off of patterns and behaviors that all have kind of starts and finishes. So if you didn't do this, then this wouldn't happen. And so you basically start to break up the patterns that the mind tell the body and the body tell the mind. You begin to break up those patterns, and as you break up the patterns, the third and fourth, which gets into the bad phase, stops happening as much, and you're catching your behavior at 1 and 2, and you're catching trigger points, especially at 1 and 2, and so you're just upstream of the problem, and you begin to spend more time upstream of the problem, and you start to build off of that. But that is a direct reflection of the present moment. You go into your yoga. Have an end. Have an end. Every time you pay attention and have an end, you practice that willful act. The willful act of becoming present. It's something you do. So you can go from really dynamic and complex to working with stuff, to yoga, tai chi, slow movement. And then when you come back to meditation, as opposed to meditation in the morning where we're kind of trying to tame our minds and really get a hold of the amount of force the mind has over us. And so when you're in meditation, and meditation is just a part of your relationship to your life, it's an opportunity to practice these really incredibly powerful, meaningful, life-affirming things like gratitude and compassion and love, and this idea of metta, which is just kind of exuding goodwill. That's just kind of like something that you can do. And in a tactical sense, this is really important because it's like resupply. Every time you do that stuff, you resupply your being with really good stuff. Your hormone, the hormone that gets released is oxytocin. It's the love hormone. It just shows up, and it's just really powerful. It's good for you. So in a tactical sense, putting these essentially higher level, higher caliber levels of awareness into play as a strategic practice is what can kind of organize your approach, mind and body. But ultimately, that strategic practice leads to love. And so that space of love is the bigger than mind body. So you are mind, body, bigger than self. You are all those things at the same time. And they're built to either sustain each other or pull from each other. Sustain each other or pull from each other. And so when you're practicing in the sustainment of it, it's really good for you, and it's really good for everyone else. So that's the end part, right? So this is the end. And I encourage you to take time at the end to practice what you've given yourself, which is a time when your mind and your body are just kind of like, they're vibing, right? It's chilling, good. I sincerely hope you found anything I had to offer valuable, and that you have a great evening. Good night, Armor Down.